Do you see this automation curve next to me? I'm not drawing that. I used to spend hours manually automating my vocals and drawing literally hundreds of dots to get them to sit right in the mix. But now there's a plugin that draws it all for me. It's called Magic.RIDE, and I built it to save hours of work on my projects. In this video, I'm gonna show you exactly how it works, why it's a massive upgrade over the current vocal riders that are out there, and how to use every single feature so that you can get your voice sounding polished. Let's load this plugin on a vocal and see what it sounds like. We have three main knobs here that we can adjust. The most important knob being the target knob. This is telling our algorithm that we want this vocal to sound louder or softer, depending on the target that you actually choose. The speed knob affects how fast the gain gets boosted or cut. The range knob is how much boost or cut you're allowing this plugin to give, with 12 decibels on either side being the most.
All that time I wasted on you.
Let's adjust some settings here so we can just see some crazy effects.
2 bad years on a sinking ship with doom.
Now, so this doesn't sound so crazy like this, I'm gonna turn on this natural mode, which I'll talk more about in a second, but it's gonna be way more better, more natural sounding results.
2 bad years on a sinking.
Another cool feature that we can adjust is the auto target feature. If you're not sure where to put your target, you can just play your audio, click on auto target, listen to your track over 2 seconds, and then it will determine the best place to put the target. I'd also like to point out that these meters on the right side are showing you a lot of what's happening with the vocal. The purple waveforms themselves are anytime the vocal gets cut. And the blue waveforms, if we boost this target, we'll start to see some blue lines up here. The blue ones in the background are anytime it gets boosted. This meter here is our output and everything that's happening in the background. So we're peaking at -3, -5. Perfect. And then this meter here is how much gain is being applied on the plus side or on the minus side. Let's check out what minus looks like, which is represented by, once again, purple. You can see. Let me switch up the song and the vocalist so you can hear this on a different source. I have this vocal that I'm working with. I'll turn off all the other plugins so that we can just focus on this voice and solo it. Now I want to talk about the bottom row buttons that we kind of mentioned earlier. My favorite part of this entire plugin is this natural button right here, which makes it sound like a person is actually behind the fader rather than just an algorithm. This is one of the biggest pain points I had with other plugins like Wave's Vocal Rider, for example. It just sounded robotic. And then after using the plugin, I would have to go back and manually adjust the gain anyways. This button helps fix that. When it's turned on, it will auto recognize when people are singing phrases. And you can tell when those phrases happen by this green button up here.
You gave me motion. Left me a shipwreck of emotions.
You can see that it's recognizing those as phrases. Instead of jumping in and adjusting every syllable like a normal vocal writer might, it's adjusting each phrase as one phrase. This is a much more natural sounding result. Even as natural knobs is applied, you can still affect the speed of the knob itself. I can still turn it up to 100, get some faster.
And I'll fire that's still embers.
Or I can make it super, super slow.
But baby, you gotta remember you.
Totally up to you what you want to do. Another feature that I've added to this on the bottom bar is called Smart Silent. Smart Silent reduces the gain on the silent sections by -6 decibels. Oftentimes when you're recording vocals, the silent parts aren't all that silent. You might be recording room noise, you might be recording other things. Getting rid of that before the compressor is going to give way better compression results. And then we also have this automation type bar here that we can change and it will automatically write it for us. I will show you that a bit later. Before I do, I want to hop into some more advanced features that this has because we've kind of just dipped our toes in the water with what this can do. Let me switch vocalists one more time so you can hear it on another voice type. Here we got another vocal. Let's hop into some of the advanced settings that you'll want to know about while using this plugin. Starting with look ahead. Look ahead will allow our DAW to look ahead in time to give smoother results for the gain. We're basically delaying everything in our DAW by 10 milliseconds to allow this plugin to look ahead to adjust for any sharp transients or anything else that might throw this plugin on. It just makes it for a smoother gain curve. Let's dive into this detection algorithm. Most vocal riders use RMS, which is fine for most purposes, but it's actually not the most accurate way that we hear sound. Humans hear sounds a lot differently than machines do, but actually the best way that we have that perceives our loudness is called LUFS. LUFS more closely resembles human hearing, which usually results in smoother gain curves. But it definitely depends on your source. For faster, more rap vocals like this, I think I would actually prefer RMS. But what's cool about this plugin that other vocal riders don't do is that you have the choice of which algorithm that you use. Let's continue on with the advanced settings. If we really want to dial in things even more, we can adjust the attack, the release, and the hold time of our gain curve. If we take our attack down, that's saying as soon as we detect something, it's going to immediately take 1 millisecond before we start changing that gain curve. If we take it all the way up, it's going to take a half second or 500 milliseconds before that gain curve actually changes. Same with the release. Works the exact same as a compressor. You can get some way more dialed in results with these 3 knobs alone and just everything else that's going on. I also have a breath feature, which will automatically detect breaths in the signal and turn them down when they hear them. Up to 12 decibels. I have a transient algorithm that the higher it goes, the more it preserves the actual vocal attacks and consonants. Letters like T or K will cut through a lot more with this transient knob, just for even more control. And then finally, we have the noise floor, which introduces a new thing to the graph. And this is saying to ignore everything below this noise floor value. So anything below this that might be like room noise or, I don't know, dog barking will just automatically get ignored by the algorithm. This can be super helpful if you're recording live in a band. Let's say that you have a live microphone and it's picking up all the rest of your bandmates. Typically, if you don't have this noise floor feature on, it's going to just boost up your bandmates because it's going to think that that is your vocal. Instead, if we raise the noise floor, we can tell it, no, ignore this part and only focus on the loudest parts or the vocal itself. Extremely helpful. And then finally, we also have an output knob here if we want to make up for any gain that we lost during this, or just to make things easier. I thought, why not? Output knob, come on. Now, before getting into the automatic automation riding, I want to show you the presets, which can be super helpful for people that maybe don't want to spend all this time learning the technical aspects of this plugin. You click on the presets, you have a bunch of different presets that are automatically set for you to the settings I think would work well. For example, if you're working on speaking, there's some dialogue and some voiceover, which this plugin is really great for. There's some of my favorite ones, which include the natural settings as well as LUFS detection on a lot of them. But then what's also cool is you can save your own presets. If you dial in something that you just think sounds good on your own voice and you don't want to spend the time doing it every single time, you can just go in here, save as, boop, boop, bop, boop, save, and then anytime you load it, it will go back. Let's get another song in the mix. I don't know, why not? Show it on a different voice. But let's see what it can do when it comes to automation. Now, to use this automation and to get it to write your automation for you, I'd recommend going into automation, clicking here, and you can use any of the automation modes that are available. My favorite to use is Latch. So let's click on Latch. We'll change our track here in Logic, or in whatever DAW you're working in, it works the same. We'll go into Latch right here. With both of these on Latch and the plugin on Latch, you'll see that it will begin to write the automation that it actually makes.
Hang back and sit on the side chairs. I never dance, so really I'm fine.
Now, why would you want to do this? Well, there's one specific reason, and it's if you want more manual control. Instead of drawing all of these dots individually, this can do it for you. It does a really, really good job right off the bat, much better than the other Vocal Rider plugin. 90% of the time, it's going to be all that you need. But the 10% of the time where you just have a weird transient or it's just not reading the thing that you want it to or doesn't sound like you want it to, you can manually go in and adjust it. So to do that, we're going to change this back into read. We're going to change our plugin instead of automation into read as well. And now any changes that we make here will automatically show in the plugin.
I think I'll hang back.
So you can see the plugin right here. But let's say, oh, let's just take this whole thing and let's just move it down. See what happens with our plugin here.
I think I'll hang back and sit on the side.
You can see that it goes right down here, just like what we put here. Reading every single manual change now because we're in this read mode. If we don't like that, we can always just turn it off and go back to what we had before. Nothing has changed about our automation. We can always switch between the two. But I find that if I have a manual correction to make, I will first print it with Latch so that it writes it for me, and then I will use the read mode and change it and adjust it as need be. It is an immense time saver, to say the least. As you can see, it's more than just a vocal writer. It can control transients. It can control breaths. It can automatically write vocal automation. The natural mode itself just makes it feel like a real person is there rather than just some algorithm robotically affecting your voice. I built this for myself to save hours of work for me, but I think it can help you too. You can go check it out in the description below if you're interested. And if you do pick it up, put it on your next mix and send me what you create.